So this is the Figma Pyramid Head, and I did a couple of things to him a couple of years ago. I mainly elongated the torso by resculpting it a little bit. I was also online shopping recently, and Daisho Creations on Etsy, my absolute favorite 3D printing business, just happened to have this movie-inspired Pyramid Head helmet, and I kind of just had to snag it up. And because he's an absolute champ, he also sent me this great knife. And I think I can actually make it really work here, because I can't really drag his knife along the floor like it does in the games. So I think this being so much bigger is gonna look really, really nice. I'm not actually quite sure what design this is based off of, because Homecoming has a serrated edge and the movie Great Knife just doesn't quite look like this, but it might just be like an artist specific interpretation, so you know, that's fine. It still evokes very much what it's trying to be. So yeah, I'm going to paint these things up, and I thought, why not film it? Another reason why I wanted to do this is because a couple of years ago I cosplayed Pyramid Head, and I actually do prefer the movie design helmet. So I did kind of like a full like, what do you even call this? Whatever. I wasn't topless for it, so I had like a full outfit on, and then a movie style helmet made by my dad for the most part, with some input from me. And hopefully painted up, this is gonna very much look just like that. So what we're gonna first do is we're going to spray paint both of these into like a nice copper. So I don't really have much spray paint left in this, but I don't know. Ooh, okay. So I actually ran out of the copper, so I don't really want it to be inconsistent because I only did one side. So I'm gonna just spray it with some silver, and then I'll work from there and just ding it up. So here we are, like bronzed, coppered up, and it's looking good, it's looking good. But compared to this Figma paint job here, it's kind of flat in terms of detail. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this black wash, and that's gonna like seep into every little crack here, just create more depth. And then it's gonna go around these, like whatever these are, bolt parts. I am also gonna have to clean up some parts the spray paint missed. But first off, we're gonna do the wash, and then we're gonna do a dry brush of a slightly lighter copper color. So yeah, just get off to a start. I don't really have a stand for this because I haven't really fitted it yet, but hopefully my finger will have to do for now. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of haphazardly just paint, throw this wash on top of everything. It's kind of setting in these like lines here, and it's gonna create some nice depth. And because of the whole kind of like dirty griminess of the helmet, we don't really need to be too like finicky about everything looking perfect, because it's supposed to look like really beat up and worn. So a paint is kind of hard to, like a paint wash is kind of hard to predict what it's going to look like. So all we can really do is kind of wait for this to set, and then we might do a second pass. So the wash is more or less dry, but I wanted to do a couple of kind of like more precise things with just some black paint. So like, you see this like groove here? Just want to add like a little black paint in there. And like up here. This long one here. You see, we're just adding depth to the entire thing. And then I think we're also gonna, just like around the edge here, we're gonna do like a sloppy little line like so. It's kind of hard to see. This paint doesn't really reflect light in the best way. So now, I don't know if this is going to be too bright, but I have some copper here, and I thought we could experiment a little bit with a dry brush. Just going to start with like the top, and then over these parts here. You see how this edge here just captures the paint really well? This is giving some really nice depth. And you don't really need to be too careful with it, just do like strokes like this. Get a little bit too much maybe, but it doesn't really matter. I think maybe something I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some black again, and there's like barely any paint on the brush now. I'm just gonna kind of like dot some black all over it. I'm curious if we add a little bit of silver to the entire thing. So just like some regular silver. Actually, no, I think we're gonna go grimier. We're gonna go with some gunmetal. So this is gonna be the least prominent dry brush because I want it to kind of stay like this rusty color. A little bit heavy there. If you're wondering why I keep like kind of like wiping away the paint, is because it got a little bit too thick, and wiping it off kind of helps with just kind of scrubbing it off but keeping like a little bit there, so it's still achieving the effect I want. Just looking like really grimy and ugly. I really like these kind of like lighter bronze bits. I'm gonna add a little bit of this Reichland flush shade to it as well. Just gonna, it got very silvery up here, and Reichland flesh shade mixed with silver kind of makes a like a copper color. So this is also how I painted rust on Megatron with this Reichland flesh shade. So there we go. I think this looks really good. So with the helmet now fixed, we can just kind of do a little test fitting here. So I haven't installed any like type joint here because it's too much work at the moment. So we just put it on like this, and look at this. It's pretty much perfect. It looks beautiful. It fits on the shoulders extremely well. I think I have a second one of these joints. Come on, just look at this. Looks so good. So I figured we would paint up the great knife. So using this as reference, we have the knife here, and let's start with a bunch of black. Well, we're not going to start with black at all. We're going to start with some Reichland flesh shade, just because I'm curious. There's also already some black on the brush, so I'm gonna start like up here, and then we're gonna keep the actual blade, like this sharp part, a little bit cleaner. So we're just gonna work our way carefully down there. Okay, so I have a little bag here of joints, and I found this one that has the right thickness. So I just cut off like a tiny bit here, so it gets kind of like even to where the neck is. And it also has like a little ratchet here. I don't really like ratchets too much, but I feel like Pyramid Head isn't a character that really has to like look up like that much, so it's mainly gonna be like this. But in order for me to actually use this peg here, I'm gonna have to create a joint, and for that I will simply fill this up with glue, and it's gonna be quite a lot of glue, like way more than that. Just keep filling it up. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until this glue has set, and then I will simply drill a hole right through, and then we're gonna have a little hole for the peg. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself, so let me show you. As you can see here, the peg is kind of not really using like the long rod, it's more using the actual like ball part of it. And as I was drilling into the glue, I actually ended up drilling through the entire like helmet part itself. So there was like a big hole here. So I've been trying to resculpt it as closely as I could, and it's just a whole bunch of unnecessary work that shouldn't really have to be done, but I was really impatient as usual, and I wasn't careful enough, so I'm gonna have to try to match this like rusty color I put on everything else. So starting off, I'm gonna use some of this gunmetal just to kind of make the area metallic, and then I think I'm gonna do a wash with some Reichland Flèche, a pretty heavy wash to try to get this bronze color, and then we'll try to blend it in with some other colors. So the sculpting isn't really perfect, especially not in the parts between like these round things. I don't even know what they are, but I think I can kind of get away with it because of how beat up this helmet is anyway. So yeah, really annoying and really unfortunate, but hey, it happens. So we got the gunmetal, and now we're just gonna put on a thick coat of Reichland Flèche to kind of rust it up a little bit to make it a nice coppery color. And we're gonna add a little bit outside of that area so it doesn't look too intentionally put specifically here. And now we have to wait for this to dry. So here is the Pyramid Head helmet completed, and hopefully you can't really see too much difference in like the skull, like the resculpted part. And I think the paint job turned out really good. It really has that nice little rust look. And this is in the end how the Great Knife turned out. I made sure to do some dry brushing with some more gunmetal in this direction here, like so, because if any strokes were like this way, it just ended up kind of looking really artificial, and this looks a whole lot more just like nasty and, you know, horrible. Also because of this here, the sheer like size of this Great Knife, I can now have him like actually dragging the Great Knife across the floor, and while he's still in like his regular height. And I think this looks absolutely gorgeous. I love it. But if I were to like make this a little bit more accurate, meaning put this on a movie body, I do have like a slight idea. I have this Savage He-Man body, and the helmet goes on like so, and you know, I think this could work with like some modifications. Like I would have to repaint this entire thing more like a paler color and make like the cloth that goes around his lower body. But yeah, I think this could also be another cool project, but that will be for a later date. For now, I am thoroughly pleased with how this turned out here. Yeah, thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed.